Colorado, a state people call God's country. Jagged mountains reaching into endless skies, golden aspens swaying in the wind, fresh snow blanketing ski towns where families laugh and strangers become friends. But beneath that beauty, Colorado hides something else. It has been called a sanctuary, a playground, a refuge. For some, it became a hunting ground. From 1950 until today, 7 serial killers have stalked its highways, ski towns, and cities. At least 68 victims, likely more. This is the Colorado no one puts in travel brochures. The Colorado where darkness found a home. Ted Bundy, the escape artist. June 7, 1977, Aspen, Colorado, Pitkin County Courthouse. Inside a small law library, Ted Bundy sat hunched over a stack of legal books. He was supposed to be defending himself, combing through dusty pages for a way to survive trial. But Bundy wasn't reading, he was waiting. The guards had gotten comfortable, leaving him unwatched for a few minutes. That's when Bundy moved. He leapt from a second-story window and landed hard on the courthouse lawn. Then, like a shadow, he disappeared into the Rocky Mountains. For 6 days, one of America's most wanted men vanished into the wilderness. Locals whispered about sightings. Ranchers checked their barns. Tourists glanced over their shoulders on hiking trails. On Highway 82, they finally caught him. Bundy was cold, hungry, limping. The state breathed again. But Bundy wasn't finished. 6 months later, December 30th, 1977, Garfield County Jail. Bundy had been starving himself, losing weight, shrinking his body until he could slip through spaces no man should fit. That night, he unscrewed a light fixture, pulled himself into the ceiling, and crawled through the ventilation system like a ghost. When guards checked his cell, all they found was emptiness. Bundy was gone. This time, he stayed free for 43 days. During that window, a young nurse from Michigan named Karen Campbell vanished. She was 23, visiting the Wildwood Inn in Snowmass for a ski trip. One moment she was walking down a hotel hallway. The next, she was gone. 36 days later, her body was found 3 miles from the inn, partially buried in snow. Bundy was eventually caught again, far from Colorado, in Florida. But the mountains of Aspen still remember the cold shadow he left behind. Robert Charles Brown, the devil's right-hand man. In the 1990s, Robert Charles Brown sat inside Colorado's Lyman Correctional Facility. A quiet man, forgettable. He kept to himself, didn't make noise. And then he began writing. Not to his family, not to friends, to police. In his letters, Brown confessed, not to 1 crime, not to 2, but to almost 50 murders across the United States, stretching back to 1970. Investigators were skeptical. Prison brags are common. But then Brown started naming names. Rocio Chila del Pilar Sperry, just 13 years old, disappeared in 1987. Heather Dawn Church, only 9, kidnapped from her bedroom in Colorado Springs. He described details no one else could know. Brown was already serving 2 life sentences for confirmed murders, but his letters painted him as something much worse, possibly one of America's most prolific serial killers. Even now, investigators can only confirm a handful of his claims, but they believe Brown may be responsible for at least 7 more killings. He calls himself the devil's right-hand man, and in solitary confinement, that's what he remains. The truth, the real number of victims, we may never know. Vincent Darrell Groves, the Ghost of Denver. Between 1978 and 1988, women began vanishing from Denver's streets. No witnesses, no suspects, no evidence. It was as if the city itself had swallowed them whole. For years, police hunted a ghost. That ghost had a name. Vincent Darrell Groves. Groves was smooth, convincing, and careful. Women trusted him, and then they never came home. Among his victims were Patricia Smith, 23, Tommy Sue Woodrum, 19, Juanita Lovato, 35. At least 7 confirmed murders, but investigators whisper the number was far higher. Some say as many as 24. The problem? DNA technology didn't exist back then. Groves slipped through the cracks. He eventually went to prison for unrelated crimes and died there in 1996 of natural causes, never tried for the full scope of his killings. It wasn't until 2012, 16 years after his death, that DNA evidence tied him to the murders. Justice came, but far too late for the women, for their families. Harvey Murray Glattman, the photographer of death. Before Bundy, before Groves, before Brown, there was Harvey Murray Glattman. Born in the Bronx, raised in Denver, Glattman was the kind of child people whispered about. Obsessed with tying knots, drawn to sadistic fantasies. By his teens, he was already stalking women. In the late 1950s, Glattman moved to California and reinvented himself. He posed as a photographer, offering young women a shot at modeling careers. Glamour, fame, a chance to be seen. They trusted him, followed him, and he tied them up, tortured them, photographed their terror. Then he killed them. His victims: Judy Dull, 19, Shirley Bridgeford, 24, Ruth Mercado, 24. 3 women with dreams, 3 women who thought they were chasing stardom. Instead, they met Harvey Glattman. In 1959, he was executed in San Quentin's gas chamber. His last words: "It's better this way." Even in death, he showed no remorse. The mountains remember. Colorado is still breathtaking. The mountains are still there. The rivers still cut through canyons. Children still laugh in ski lodges. Tourists still snap photos. Hikers still climb toward the sky. But the land remembers. It remembers Karen Campbell's laughter, Heather Dawn Church's innocence, Patricia Smith's hope, Judy Dull's dreams. What makes Colorado attractive to killers? The same things that attract everyone else. Vast wilderness where bodies can disappear under snow, highways that link state to state, transient populations that come and go unnoticed. Most of Colorado's monsters have been caught. Some are dead. Some still breathe behind concrete walls. but questions remain. Were there more? Did some escape justice? Or are there still killers out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting, watching, blending into the beauty? Because evil has always loved beautiful places, and in Colorado, it found the perfect hiding place. If this story gripped you, subscribe for Dark Shadows, where we expose the serial killers hiding in America's most trusted communities. Next week, the ones still out there, active cases and cold trails in Colorado. And remember, if you know anything about an unsolved crime, call your local authorities. Someone is still waiting for answers.